All right, hello and welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to be going for the sixth and final ending for Layla's Hangout quest. So this is going to branch off of Dislocated Dialogue and my fourth ending. And you can see the selection I made previous, where we search for the answer that to the riddle that she got in her response from the wisdom seal, which I think we understand is her second uh, personality. But let's select the other option and see what happened.
Huh, good point. Why else would it use such a roundabout way to tell me its answer? Supposedly, everyone who's been pranked by the silly had angered it in some way. That means the silly is someone who's very strict and serious about knowledge. But who knows if it's really a silly or some person.
Main issue is you have a deadline to meet. No guarantee you'll actually get an answer after doing what it says. Feel not inclined to select this one only because I know that she'll get the answer if that's what it says. Let's go for this one.
True. And if I don't get an answer, then I'll only have wasted more time. Oh, but there's nothing else we can do. It's the one holding all the cards. It's completely hidden and can choose whether to help us or not. After all, it'd probably be impossible to find it and ask my question in person.
Now that sounds like an
Huh? Uh, I was just kidding. Oh, please don't take me seriously. It's a Seelie we're talking about. According to legend, Seelies are elusive and can create countless copies of themselves. Who's to say that it won't summon a shooting star to crush us once we find it?
You don't actually believe those legends, do you?
Sorry, I'm just a little panicky. Okay, Layla, calm down and think. If the Seelie is a person, then there has to be a way to track them down.
So the way, I don't know if it's possible, but the way that the obvious way is to set up something to watch the bookshelf. The wisdom seal is supposed to respond to the question, but I'm just thinking about what equipment we have available to us. I know that we have cameras, but the cameras aren't. They wouldn't record video for sure. They're still cameras, and even then, I don't know if these cameras have. I'm just thinking on other game, thinking of another game where you could set where cameras were set up with a sensor to detect motion, but then take a picture when um, you know which game I'm thinking of. You know exactly what I'm talking about because it was also an eleven. But I don't think that um, there's an equivalent technology in Genshin Impact for the motion sensor, even though cameras are part of the established technology. So I'll be curious to see what they're going to do.
We have two possible leads right now. The first is the checkout logs of those two books, and the other is the red stamp. The red stamp bears the Retawahist emblem, which is used by a lot of people. It'll be hard to track down an individual, so we should probably start with the checkout logs.
Start with the checkout. I mean, the checkout log would only make sense if the book left the library. I know it's been a while since I've since I've used an actual physical library, particularly in particular, been even longer since I've used an actual physical library where you could actually check out the books. But you only check out the books if you're taking the book away from the library. If Sealy's just using it inside the library. Maybe imagine maybe air quotes around Sealy's. Um, then there would not be a checkout. Then there would not be anything checkout log.
Let's go and make an inquiry. We can also ask around the House of Dana and see if anyone else knows something about the Wisdom Sealy.
Other thing is that this is supposedly a gather more information about the Wisdom Sealy. The other thing is that kind of makes me question this option is this is a book that's used by her house quite a bit, so checkout log would have a lot of hits to it, correct?
Hi there. Do you know anything about the Wisdom Sealy?
Yes, of course. I've been looking into it for quite a while now. However, I feel like I'm still missing some key pieces of information. Hey, maybe if we put our heads together, we can figure something out.
Sure. I'll try my best.
There are a few known traits of the Wisdom Sealy. First, it's extremely strong. It can easily carry a few dozen books, along with 4 or 5 pieces of astrology equipment all at once. It's extremely athletic as well. It only moves in a straight line and doesn't stop for anything, not even walls or rivers. Lastly, it has a number of special abilities. It has a hardened metal body that's impervious to injury. It can freeze water into ice, and it can also summon meteors.
That doesn't even sound human.
Well, Sealies aren't human. If we're talking about the Sealies that we see everywhere in Tibet, they may have been human-like at some time, but they are not human-like. Wait a minute. That's quite a bit of that's quite a bit of special abilities for a Sealy, given what we see from the other Sealies in Tibet. But yeah, this is a lot of this. This is a real tall tale here.
Well, it is a legend after all. It's no surprise that some details seem a little exaggerated.
A little?
But these aren't just made up, you know. Each of its abilities has been confirmed by eyewitnesses. There have been many sightings too, including at Chatrakam Cave, the Avidya Forest, and around the waterfall south of Sumeru City.
Has anyone seen what it actually looks like? Or what kind of person it is?
Not that I know of. No one's been able to get close to it. It seems like it tries to stay out of sight. I would probably want to remain a mystery too, if I were someone as legendary as the Wisdom Sealy. So what do you make of it? Have you seen it somewhere as well?
No. We're probably gonna need some time to digest all the, incredible information you've provided us.
Incredible, for
Not
sure.
a problem. But if you manage to find anything, be sure to come and tell me about it. I trust that you'll quickly discover the excitement of slowly unraveling the truth.
Okay. Still sounds like there might be. It would be fun if we actually have to check up on all those. Is there a book that I haven't? I swear, every time I'm here, there's more books that I need to collect. All right, worry about those later.
hi there. Have you heard of the legend of the Wisdom Sealy?
Do I really look like the kind of student that would be interested in such a pointless legend?
No?
Oh, I'm sorry. We were just curious.
Well, I do happen to have some information on it.
Oh, why don't you just say so?
Huh? Logically, that has nothing to do with the question I asked. I just don't want others to see me as some poor excuse for a student whiling away my time in the House of Dana.
I don't really think bad students would come to the House of Dana to pass the time. But anyways, you were saying?
Well, I spend most of my time here, and I have noticed something odd before. One time, late at night, a black shadow fell from above and landed in the central area of the House of Dana. Of course, I was a little sleepy at the time, but it startled me, and I got up to see what was going on.
Probably wasn't Dulu.
And then what happened?
Then, the shadow quickly circled behind me with incredible speed. Just as I tried to turn around to get a look at it, I fainted.
Shadow sounds pretty powerful.
Yes, it was unbelievably fast. I had never seen anything like it. It was so unusual that I wasn't sure if it was real or if I was half dreaming. But given how popular the legend of the Sealy has become lately, maybe this has something to do with it.
Don't take this the wrong way, but doesn't the House of Dana have a door?
It was closed that night. I suppose even the House of Dana needs to be closed for maintenance from time to time.
I see. That makes sense. But what were you doing here if the House of Dana was closed?
Don't look so surprised. It's a common practice to find a place to hide before they lock the doors, so you can continue reading books here. Everyone knows that.
Good thing I'm not studying alongside you. I can tell that you really stress me out.
Anyway, thank you for the info. I'll be sure to take note of everything you mentioned.
You're welcome.
All right. One more lead to check up on. His information sounded a little bit more credible than the first one. Let's see what she has to say.
Oh, hello there. Can I help you?
Hello. I'm a Ratawahis student and would like to see the checkout logs for theoretical astrology and a quick reference guide to astrology cases.
Oh, are you also here to investigate the Ratawahist Wisdom Sealy legend?
Also? I suppose it makes sense that we're not the only ones investigating such a popular legend.
Yes, I myself am also quite curious about it, but unfortunately, I haven't found anything out of the ordinary. Given you're a Ratawahist student, I'm sure you know that a lot of research references these two books. All our copies of these particular titles are frequently checked out. I have looked into it, but found no irregularities in the checkout logs.
Is there any chance the Sealy could have taken the books out and returned them without being noticed?
Not likely. That would be almost impossible. The House of Dana is extremely strict about the circulation of its books. There will always be a record if a book is checked out. And even if it managed to figure out a way to take the books without leaving any record, it's possible that someone would come looking to borrow the books before the Sealy returned them. If someone discovers that a book is missing or that it doesn't match my inventory records, it would come to my attention immediately. However, it might be possible to pull off in the case of a less popular book.
Okay, I understand now, thank you. This is useful to know. With any luck, it'll help us work out the Sealy's identity. Okay, everyone's given us a lot of useful information. Let's go through it and try to organize everything.
So I'm just going to try to guess. I think that the first clue that we got, set of clues we got, I don't think that I don't think that works. We could go and check those three places. I don't think we'd find anything. Remember, we're kind of going on the assumption that her second personality is actually the wisdom Sealy. That would make sense based on particularly what we heard from ending number 4. Um, so it wouldn't make sense for her to have abnormally high. She has a vision, so she has some things she can do, but with the elemental skill and elemental bursts that she has in combat, those don't match what the first account talked about. Now, the second account might be a little exaggerated too, but it kind of speaks to how I think this works. Is that she might be in the library once it closes, then she goes and checks the book, replies to messages inside the book, and then leaves. That would result in in the books never being checked out when they're not supposed to, and not leaving any obvious abnormalities in the checkout logs that would be by the library. Because the book never leaves the library, there would be no checkout necessary. So it is interesting that yes, that the book could come and go if it was a less popular title, but then even as the Wisdom Sealy legend circulates, then it would be noticed if even a less popular book was gone unexpectedly and then come back. So I still think that the Wisdom Sealy is her second personality. I think that she responds to the queries directly while the library is closed, so that the book never actually has to be.
Some things we heard were pretty straightforward, but others were just ridiculous.
Now we should be able to figure out more about its identity.
Yeah. Let me think and see what I can make of it. Okay, calm down, Layla. I know the info's all over the place, but you can definitely do it. First, let's try to figure out the Sealy's identity based on the clues we currently have. Then, we'll analyze where it's been sighted and its motives. Finally, we'll piece everything together. From there, we should be able to predict its movement. Alright, let's give it a try.
Oh, I'm going to do this again. Okay, so book checkout log. Shadow that infiltrated the house of Dana. Oh, there we go. Wisdom Sealy superpower and sighting location. So I think this is the most likely evidence that we have. So let's interpret this one.
It once infiltrated the house of Dana while it was closed.
Oh, we have to do all 4. Okay. Okay.
Book circulation is strictly regulated, and there is a log of anyone who checks out a book. Stamp. Which probably means they're a Ratawahis student.
Okay.
I think I heard somewhere that it has a lot of ridiculous abilities. It's been to the Chutrakam Cave, the Avidia Forest, and the waterfall south of Sumeru City.
So kind of added this one. I don't know if is this just what we want to submit as a conclusion. I'm thinking it's this one, but let's try. Oh, you have to associate the wisdom series true identity. Something else. Sure. Wisdom series true identity with shadow that infiltrated the House of Data.
No, there doesn't seem to be any notable connection between these two pieces of information.
Okay, sure. Then, Wisdom series true identity with location? Okay. So now we have the Wisdom series behavioral. I guess that's what we want to submit.
Okay, I think I've got it now. First, based on the information Katayun provided, we can assume that the Seelie is a student from the Ratawa Darshan.
Yep.
The possibility of it being someone outside the Darshan can be ruled out because it'd be impossible to gain access to those two books without going through the librarian. Next, leaving its crazy abilities aside, all the sightings took place in locations that are officially recommended for astrology observation by the academia. In other words, it's probably just conducting research, and the nature of its research is very similar to mine. The question that I submitted was no simple query, but it was able to give me a reply in just a day. This implies that it's familiar with a similar field of knowledge. So based on this reasoning, all we have to do is wait for it at the next astrological observation site.
Look at you. Finishing your thesis should be no problem at all.
It's nothing, really. There are actually some other factors that I've been speculating about. But that's not important right now. Let's get going. Even though we have a lead, it's still hard to say whether we'll be able to make any discoveries. I'll tell you what I mean by that if the Seelie doesn't show up.
Okay. Truth behind it. Okay, don't have to go too far. Actually, hold on. That might just be the door. Okay. Let's just go there. Yeah, I kind of figured this is the door. Let's see. Obvious on the map yet. So let's go ahead and see where this takes us. After this ending is done, I'm going to give kind of my summary of what I think about this Hangout. I have some. I haven't done all the Hangout quests, but I have done most of them. So I kind of want to put in perspective what I like about this quest, what I didn't like about this. At least in yeah. See, now it's 700. Okay, where are we going? Oh, there it is. All right, that's not too far away. I think that's in one of the lookout. If I remember that map correctly. Hopefully, it's not one of the lookout towers that always has neutral. Not. If it is, then I can. I'm not one of those Genshin Impact players that likes to sprint around. enemies to take them all out. But there isn't any enemies to take out here. I've already been in Hangout Town. That would be awkward if I wasn't. About how
The weather today is perfect for observation. Let's see if it shows up. Honestly, spending an entire night waiting for something that we're not sure is gonna happen might not be the best use of our time. But we don't really have any choice. This is all we've got. Get some sleep if you're tired. I'll be up. It's not like I could sleep anyways.
I'll stay up.
Thanks. Oh, how about I share some basics about astrology with you? If you're interested, that is.
There's an Arnara next to the tower.
Sure enough, it didn't show up. We hardly saw any animals, let alone people. No matter how conclusive the evidence is or how perfect our reasoning may be, nothing will happen as long as I'm awake.
Are you referring to the wisdom Sealy or the blessing from the stars?
They're probably one and the same.
Correct.
It's like I told you, I have a severe sleeping disorder, and there have been a lot of rumors about me sleepwalking. I tried to understand what I had been doing when I'm unconscious, but I've never been able to get any definitive evidence. Something is actively attempting to cover up all the clues without my knowing. Maybe that something is me. Or maybe it isn't. I can't be sure. For all I know, I could even be the Sealy. But what if I am? Would the Sealy be willing to help me this time? What is it actually thinking? I really have no idea.
What if I could help you?
Huh? You want to help me? Of course, it would be nice to know what's really going on. But that's impossible. It's always avoiding me and keeping me in the dark. And that won't change even if you're around.
Seeing how badly she wants to know, maybe we should find a way to ask the other Layla.
What's wrong?
The other Layla? Seems like we've come up... have thoughts about that, but let's say seems like we've come up empty-handed this.
Yeah. And to think I could have been working on my thesis this whole time. My stomach is churning just thinking about it.
There's nothing else I can do. I'm sorry.
Please stop. The more you talk about it, the more silly I feel.
We're stressing
come
her out
on,
on
Layla.
purpose.
What are you doing? Everyone's gonna start thinking you're crazy now. Oh no, I'm losing it. So dizzy.
I'm sorry to have to make you feel so uncomfortable, but I really want my sixth ending now. I am... There she is. Second Layla.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got distracted there. Where were we?
Seems like she's completely recovered. That means...
Oh, what's wrong? You look like you've got something on your mind.
Are you the... I don't get this. Oh, okay. Gus, I'm gonna pause here for a second. Because we kind of did what we just did. And I'm kind of interested in this ending. I mean, I don't think this works, really. Because we triggered the other Layla. But we have in this arc, we haven't done anything that would tell us for sure that there's a second lead. We've seen it in other endings, but those endings we don't have that in we shouldn't have the information from the other endings to bring to this arc. And what if we didn't? What if what if this was my first ending? Would, would it make sense for me to intentionally stress her out to get to this point? But now we're acting like we don't know that this. So this ending is kind of all over the not a really big.
Hmm? What are you talking about? What do you mean the other Layla? I am Layla.
But you somehow seem a little different.
Fine. It appears that you were waiting for me to show up. I suppose there's no use in me pretending. I promise I don't mean any harm and I'll answer all your questions. But before that, would you mind telling me who you are first?
I'm a friend of Layla's trying to help her finish her thesis.
Let me think. Okay, I got it. You two found this place by following the hints that I left behind. You were planning to wait for me. Or I should say you were waiting for the Seelie to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Was this your idea or hers?
Mostly hers.
I see. Yes, she's always had great analytical skills. It'd be nice if she was more confident, though. All right, that's all the questions I have. Your turn. Please ask away.
So you're the Seelie, aren't you?
That's right. Though I didn't intend for it to turn out this way, really. I just wanted to help out a few other classmates who were having a hard time while I was helping Layla finish her thesis. You see, Layla doesn't have many friends at the academia. If the others noticed her helping them out, I thought maybe I'd help her become more sociable.
How's this supposed to work,
Unfortunately,
then?
that didn't really work out. Instead, legends of the Seelie started going around. But that's alright.
What about the Seelie pranking?
I can instantly tell which students are asking serious questions and which are just trying to take advantage of me to slack off. My time to move freely is quite limited, so it's only natural that I would punish the people attempting to waste my time. My intention
Yes, I
is to help
suppose.
people. I'm not here to cause any harm.
Okay. What about this?
Infiltrating the House of Dana was a total accident. She'd forgotten an important book, and the House of Dana happened to be closed at the time. There were only days before the paper was due. I had no choice but to scale the walls with some simple climbing ropes and sneak in from above while the core of 30 wasn't paying attention. I had no idea there was still a student inside. I had no choice but to put him to sleep. Any clear evidence of my existence would only hinder my ability to conceal my identity. It would also expose me to Layla as well.
Well, I was about to say, how did she do that? But then I remembered her elemental powers seem to revolve around putting herself to sleep. So maybe it's not out of the realm of she could.
As for the special powers, well, they're just things I did during the process of trying to finish the thesis. It's like I said, I don't have much time, so I need to be as efficient as possible. Well then, does that answer all your questions?
I have one last question. Why don't you want her to know you exist? I mean, we kind of already know this from other endings.
You see, her emotions are incredibly unstable. She's constantly doubting herself. If she knew that there's another Layla who is capable of doing everything, she may think even less of herself. She could think, maybe I should just leave it all to her. I'm always relying on her anyway. why not let her live my life for me? She might start thinking about giving up completely, and that's the exact opposite of what I'm trying to do for her. After all, she and I are one and the same. We're two sides of the same coin. No one knows her greatest strength more than I do. It's her resilience. If she's able to persevere in everything she does, then one day she won't need my help anymore. I trust that she's capable of doing that, and it's something that she should do on her own.
I see.
She actually discovered the key data she needs for her thesis a long time ago. She just didn't organize it well enough. I'll complete her thesis for her just as I have in the past. Oh, please don't share any of this with her. I would like to keep this a secret for both of our sakes.
I understand.
Thank you for doing this for me. No, for us. She seems to be waking up now. Well, this is goodbye. If we never meet again, then I guess I did something right.
That's...
Huh? Did I faint? Or did I fall asleep?
You're fine, you just had a little nap.
Oh, I see. Was I sleepwalking? I was, wasn't I?
No, not really.
Really? I don't believe you. You're hiding something from me. It's written all over your face.
No, of course. Why would I be hiding something?
You said you were gonna help me, didn't you? Why are you holding out on me now? Please tell me. You promised you'd help.
That which remains unspoken. That's gonna be ending. And now go to... I did see an achievement pop up. I believe that is the achievement that simply earned from unlocking all the endings. So I get 20 Prima Gems for that. Go along with the 10 that I got from the other achievements. As for the ending bonuses, go ahead and take those as well. I kind of wanted to wait and claim them all at the end. Sort of. Okay, so I got another 20 here and another 20 here and another 20 here with a bunch of other stuff. Got some adventure experience. Something's gonna matter. Overall, look, the hangouts are never going to be about the pre because you can spend a lot of time on this. And like I said, this is 60 right here to go at the 20 I just got, to go at the 10 I just got. So it's really 90 Prima Gems to do all this. So unless you really want to hang out, you're probably not going to do it for the and the rest of the boards. And it's kind of a small amount of character experience, food and talent books. That's not a big deal either. But what's her recipe? It's kind of curious. Okay, so it's kind of like a dessert, I guess. I'll have to look at that. Okay. Anyway, wrapping this up because this is the final ending and I'm all done. I feel like the best way to use the Hangouts is to do it in a way that in different endings, you learn different things about the character. So, I think I think that with Kuki Shinobu's Hangout, they did it right because in some of the endings, you're working alongside what she's doing in the Arataki Ito gang, and in some of the endings, you're working towards uh, learning her past with Yaimiko and the shrine. So I think that is kind of that is one of the ones I think that the hangouts are done right. With this one, I don't think it's done right. I think this could have been a regular character quest, and it would have been just fine. Um, some of them go more into her backstory than others, and in some cases, we see like the fourth ending. You see a lot more of some of the things that she does uh, in her second personality, in addition to to working on her thesis. But all of the endings kind of circle around to, or most of them kind of circle around to her having a second personality that is um, that's basically helping her along, and maybe other students as well. I thought this particular ending was kind of lame, but I just feel like overall this could have been just one character story. Maybe you do some judicious cutting down on her, the story on her family, and maybe the story of other things outside of the academia. But I didn't feel like this kind of required it to be. That makes sense. Um, and I don't know, Layla's kind of sleepy voice, kind of, I don't know, it kind of gets a little much. So I did all of the recordings for this Hangout quest in 2 separate days. I feel like if I tried to do them all in one day, I'd be really tired after. So, um, and yeah, and even though I made 6 videos of this for YouTube, there is a lot of videos that I tried to do something and ended up with the same ending that I already had, so I kind of scrapped. Overall, I kind of liked how I arranged them. I would be looking for feedback to see what you think of it. Did you like how I arranged this? Is there anything differently? I certainly don't want to bore anyone to tears watching me do the same thing over and over again, which is why I'll never do this on Twitch live, because I'll end up having to spam the X button to go through dialogue I've already seen, and I don't want that to ever be the first impression anyone gets of me. I enjoy the story a lot, and so overall, it wasn't my favorite, but I don't think it was the worst either. There's some that I just feel like I got to the ending and I never really felt like I understood more a lot more of that character than I. This actually had some really good backstory and understanding of Layla that don't otherwise get from didn't do Hangout. So I would say it's for me, comparing it to the others, it's kind of a little bit middle of the road, maybe even a little bit closer to being better than the middle of the road, but it's not in the discussion for best would be where I would leave. So, having said that, that is the end of this Hangout Quest series. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully this will help you. Hopefully this will help you find an ending that you're having trouble reaching. If you have any suggestions for me, leave it in the comments below, because I'm always interested in feedback. Whether it's something I did well or something that I can improve on. Also, don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to my channel and following me on Twitch. I will probably, with the next set of videos I'm going to do, I'm probably going to go back to the TCG for a while. I do need to do some other Hangout quests as well. I'm going to sit on my laurels for this one, at least for the time being, and I'll see you in the next